Well, hey, friends, welcome back to the dinner table. I have some fun and amazing guests with me tonight. Tonight, I have Kellie Hughes and Echo Canales. Thanks for being here, girls.
Thank you for having me. Yes, thank you so much for having us.
Oh, so nice. And the greatest part about the whole deal was they cooked for me. And I don't normally start by talking about the food, but holy hell, we just dug into some strawberry AIP dessert that you made for us. And oh, yeah, it was so good. So, we're going to start out at the beginning of this show right now, and we're going to talk about the last thing we ate at the dinner table, and that was this dessert. Tell me what you made.
So I made a strawberry mousse and I started when we talked about doing dinner here, I started reading about kind of like what your diet consists of and what you
Hmm.
can and can't have. And there are a lot of like restrictions and things.
Yeah.
And I found a strawberry mousse, which just it was a recipe for it and it looked delicious and it was really easy. And it just basically had fresh strawberries, freeze dried strawberries, bananas, avocados, a little bit of maple syrup for sweetener, a little bit of vanilla, and some coconut oil. And you just literally blend them all together and then you chill it for an hour. And it was amazing. It actually came out really delicious.
So it kind of sounds simple, like I could make it for myself.
Oh man, I mean, it
Yeah.
took 5 minutes. Literally, you just take
Okay.
those ingredients, put them I put them in the blender. It's at a processor. So
Yeah.
I just put them in my blender, blended them up, and then put them in some little
Ramekins.
ramekins. There
Hmm.
you go. I put them in ramekins and then chilled them, wrapped them up in plastic and chilled them for an hour. So
I see Echo over there having one little nibble. They're so good. And you guys, I'm not having desserts and things like that. So that was a really nice treat to get that brought out. So thank you for bringing that extra special treat. Hopefully you'll share the recipes with us tonight that you used, and I'll put them up on the show notes so that everybody can check that out.
yeah, of course, I'll share everything.
So one of the other things that has happened with my AIP diet is that I have recently reintroduced eggs, which I'd said I was probably going to. So now I've been making myself. I take pancetta, garlic, onion, and I fry that up, and then I put a little bit of whatever greens I have, spinach, arugula, some stuff like that, and then I'm putting my eggs in on top of it. And I've done that for like 3 or 4 days in a row, kind of like I usually have a smoothie in the morning, and I used to do intermittent fasting. And then whenever I had to switch over to this diet and I really needed a lot more calories and a lot more nutrients,
Yeah.
I needed to eat more. So I go with a smoothie in the morning, and then I go with some kind of a late lunch. And so that's basically been my brunch option. And I've been eating that and putting the eggs on it. And I'm not having any problems. Like, I haven't noticed anything major. The things I would be most looking for at the beginning are, some kind of like major heartburn or a change in my bowel or like an immediate change of like bowel, you know
And
what I mean?
everything's been good?
Yeah, so far I've had a little bit of headaches. However, I also can't ignore the fact that they're doing the cover crop spraying right now, and not cover crop spraying, but the where they have the dusters, the
Mhm.
crop dusting spraying. They're doing that right now, and that always gives me headaches whenever they're doing that. So our farm is in the middle of cotton and sorghum fields all around us, cornfields and all of it. And there's some crop dusters around. So
Right.
it's possible so the way that it works with reintroduction, and you were asking me about that a little bit, the way that it works is, so I did 90 full days of elimination and eliminate everything. And all the guests at the dinner table have been listening to me talk about this for several weeks now. And now I'm to the phase of doing reintroduction. And so that's
So
slowly.
so wait, so you literally from the list that I read about like things that you can and can't have, all the foods that you're allowed to have, that's what you ate for 90 days and you literally cut out all the bad stuff
Everything.
for 90 days.
For 90 days.
Okay, and now
Yes.
so you take each
Yes.
separate ingredient and you take it for a time limit
Yep.
and see how your body reacts or
Yep.
okay, cool.
Yep.
And then if there's no issues, then you can have that back in your diet.
Yep. Exactly.
So that's a long process.
It's going to take a long process, and I have to pick and choose. I mean, the naturopath gave me a specific list and said, okay, try introducing this first, and these kinds of things. But one of the things that I wanted to reintroduce, I accidentally reintroduced curry, and so I just kind of stuck with that just to see what would happen, and I haven't noticed any changes with that. But curry is a seed, and you ground the curry seed to make curry. And so I just had forgotten about it when I ate something with curry in it. And so I've just been sticking with that. And I actually made chicken salad with some curry. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But I made some chicken salad with the curry. So my two introductions have been egg and curry right now, and I'm going to take those for a couple of weeks and then we'll go from there. So it'll be like, what's the next thing I really want to try? And I think it's green beans.
Yum. I
Yeah.
could not go without green. That's like serious discipline that you're doing right now because
Yeah.
like even just the foods that I read about, like not being able to eat seeds. I'm like, I was like pepper, like black pepper. I love black pepper
I
on
do
my food.
too.
And even just not even be able to season like basic
Yes.
seasonings and stuff. That
Yeah.
is like a huge discipline.
Yeah.
But I guess the good side of that
Mhm.
is like when you find that what you can and can't eat and you start to feel 100% better and
Yes.
your whole life changes,
Yes.
then it makes it worth it. But that's
That's
a
yeah.
huge task that you've taken on. Good for you.
Yeah, and it actually has been extremely empowering in so many ways, and then I also just I feel I was telling you guys that when someone starts talking to me about it, they're like, "Oh, you're gonna have to do without so much," and when you first go into the diet, you go, "Oh my god, what am I ever gonna actually be able to eat?" Right?
Well, you won't be eating out, that's for sure.
Well, I'm not eating out, which in a during the breakup time with dealing with budgets and stuff like that, it's been a benefit because I don't want to just run out and eat, and because I don't want to go run out and eat by myself, but also I'm on a budget. Also, in terms of someone asking me to go out to eat, it's really easy for me to say no, thank you. I don't go out to eat, but I'd love to go have a cup of coffee with you. Or actually, I'm not drinking coffee either, but go. We
I
can have
can
a cup
go
of
have the
tea.
local water.
Yeah. I can drink some bubble water. So I did that the other day. I went and had some bubble water with somebody. So it's actually been a huge benefit to me and I've really appreciated it. But one of the things I've learned that's been best about it all is that there's delicious food, like this dessert that you made. There's delicious food. I want to tell people all the time about the no mayo sauce because you can't eat nightshades. So tomato sauce, spaghetti sauce, or making spaghetti. Yes,
Killer.
I can't eat that,
What is
right?
no tomato sauce? Because I literally just heard about it for the first time, but I had no idea what it was.
Yes, this is one you're going to want to know about. It is a red sauce that you make that is in place of regular tomato sauce or spaghetti sauce, and it's a meat-based sauce.
Okay.
But you use beets in it to make the color, right? And then you use carrots and garlic and onion. Fortunately, we can use a lot of garlic and onion. That's not one of the things that's cut out.
So
So,
it's just a series of veggies that
yes,
make that sauce, minus the tomatoes, obviously.
exactly.
So I
Exactly.
can totally get behind that.
Yeah.
So I love my veggies.
And
So
it's good. It's really good flavor. It's one of those things that I was just been so surprised. And so it takes the replacement and makes it to where I actually can have delicious spaghetti and feel good about it, you
right.
know. I was telling you guys about how I eat this bowl of yogurt with strawberries and berries and bananas, and then I put crunchy apples or crunchy toasted coconuts. That is I mean, it's sweet and it's delicious. And so if you don't feel, I think the biggest thing is if you feel like you're deprived from things, like you're on a diet. I've never felt like I was on a diet.
Right.
I felt like I was taking care of my health,
Right.
like treating food like it was my actual
Well, I
medicine.
mean, it's moderation. So,
Mhm.
like, just from what I was reading about your thing, is that, like how did I sweeten that? I sweetened it with vanilla and maple syrup, which those are
Mhm.
things that you could actually have in your diet. So
Yeah.
that, I mean, that's still something sweet that you can use.
Yep.
And I think it's just a matter of learning how to
Yep.
replace the things that you've normally used for those
Yeah.
items. You know what I mean? And just learning how to work around. But I mean, it definitely takes a little bit of experience with food, I think, because you
Yeah.
have to know, like, well, this is what I can do with this. And
Yep.
I knew that you could mix bananas and avocados and fruit together and you would still get something nice and creamy and sweet. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And,
Yeah.
I make a smoothie at home that my daughter loves. And at first I didn't tell her it had avocados in it because she would be like, ugh, really?
Right.
I don't want it.
Yeah.
And then I give it to her and she's like, oh my God, this is so good. What's in it?
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, it's got avocado in it. And so now she's like, I want the avocado. But
Yeah.
sometimes you just have to like learn and know
Yeah.
what does what with what.
Yeah.
So
And I think that that's a huge part about like helping people out with these diets and me wanting to help people out and wanting to help with some food planning or some meal planning and how do you get these delicious flavors into you? And I think the benefit for me has been I've been on this strange food diet journey for 20 years. I mean, I'd already cut out the types of meat. I'd already been cutting out types of sugar. I'd already made like big changes. I already knew which grocery stores to go to find things. And the hardest part is in the beginning when you first start having that transition. Like the tomato sauce has it's kind of sweet because of the beet, right?
Mhm.
I can tell you that honestly, before this began, I didn't really like beets and carrots that much.
Right.
Now I'm so thankful for beets and carrots because they give you that sweet flavor that you're looking for.
Right.
And so it's just like the flavor profile of things, but you've got to be able to like I'd like to be able to take and next to more people, like take some of these dishes and feed them to people that are not this dessert is a good example, you know?
Yeah.
It's like let's give that to people who are not on a special diet and who do not whose flavor profile is not conditioned to super processed sugars
Right.
and see whether they'll actually like it,
Well,
whether
I
the
mean,
flavor is good to them.
for what we do, like when we cook dinners and stuff for guests and stuff, we have people that are like, "Hey, like we want a dessert. What's something like that we would all like that's not super sweet and not super rich and that is fresh and,
Yeah.
this would be something great for that."
And
So,
can meet all different kinds of diets. That's a
yeah.
thing when you're cooking for a variety of people as well.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, we constantly get requests for different dietary restrictions, and I know
Mhm.
that when I used to cook at the stadium, that as well, I cooked for the players, and so the players were like,
Yeah.
one's a vegan, one's a pescatarian, one's this, one's that, one doesn't have this, and so we were having to make one meal cater to like six different taste and dietary restrictions, and so
Yeah.
it's learning how to like use different things for what you're needing at the moment.
And I expect that there's gonna be a lot more of that. I'm actually finding that the more I do this and the more and I have quite a few chef friends like you guys, and, I'm finding that everyone's really interested to know more about it, and when I go in and ask, especially if I don't go in at the busiest time of the day, but I go in and ask them to make a special meal for me, explain to them what I can and have, they're excited to do it. They're
Oh,
very happy to accommodate me. And even on the trip to Louisiana that we took, where I would go into, I mean, I had to eat out some, we took some of our food with us, but I had to eat out some. I would just go in and say, okay, look, I'm going to be challenging. And I would give them, I actually made a sheet of paper that was like a short list that I would hand to the chef. And they were like, they'd come out and talk to me and they were actually excited to be able to help me and to feel like they could serve me clean food that I could eat and it wouldn't make me sick. And you sometimes I think people get nervous to ask questions, like ask for what they need. I think that
because a lot of the time, the reaction that you get is that you're too much work. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
that's how they make you feel when you're out and about. Like that's too much. Like you can't
right.
make substitutions and changes like that. But believe it or not, like as a chef coming from like I've worked in restaurants, when you get a chance to make something special for someone because that's the way they have to eat,
Yeah,
then like you're stoked about it. And not only that, you get to make something different and you get to be creative and create something.
yeah.
Like if you're just giving them, here's a list of things that I can eat, make what you can, you know what I mean?
Yes,
Like we love stuff like that. I
yes,
mean, as long as it's not at, 11:30,
exactly.
11:30 at lunchtime
Yeah,
and, the whole restaurant is
yeah,
full, then obviously,
yeah,
but any other time, like we're thrilled to be able to change it up and do something different for somebody and have
yeah.
them be so grateful and like excited about it.
Yeah, so don't be afraid to ask is what I'm hearing. Of course, I didn't say this before, but I want to say it now and I'll say it again. But the name of y'all's business is Salty Sea Kitchen. And we'll talk a little bit more about your business, but I want to add that in here up at the beginning. Mondays at the farm, I've been having those now since January, and they're going really, really well. But this last week was so much fun. I hope you guys will come out on a Monday, some Monday. I think you'll like it.
Well, I know when we picked up flowers that day, you were like, "Come out," and then I saw your pictures, and it was all
Yeah.
these kids, and
Yes.
everybody looked like there were picnics going on, and it looked
Yes.
so fun. Like
Yes.
I was like, "We have to come out and do this and bring our kids." Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And so a couple of moms had been coming out already and they came and they bring littles and super chill with their littles. That was one of the things I told them. I was like, y'all are the perfect kind of moms to do a farm day hangout because they're not worried about their kids getting dirt. They're not worried about I mean, I pulled a tiny little squash for the baby and it was like his third food that he's like gnawing on. He doesn't have any teeth, but he's like gnawing on the squash and the mom is super excited about it. And then she's, over there nursing her baby, no big deal. Like
Right.
the kid is like digging his hands in the dirt and like putting dirt in his mouth, and the other kiddo is like toddling around and chasing the dog, and they're being easygoing about it. And so we just had this nice group. So other friends, adult friends that came out, we dug the potatoes. We got some actual soil therapy, like we got our hands in the dirt. So I'm always looking to try to find just really simple things for us to do because mostly what I want us to do is just be able to hang out and I want people to feel free that there's a space of like wellness going on out here. That's really important to me. So, Echo, bring your kiddos out and y'all come out on a Monday.
Absolutely. I love soil therapy.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. So,
When we gardened at home, she helped me set up my little herb garden and stuff. And she's
yeah,
like, her tie-dye t-shirt, no
uh-huh,
shoes on, little shorts, like she's all free little hippie in the dirt
yeah,
over here. Like
yeah,
she's definitely about soil therapy.
I definitely feel like very at home when I'm like knee deep in some soil for sure.
yeah, yeah. That's what I want. And the first time you guys came out here, and it's actually not the first time you came out, but the first time the both of you came out, and Echo jumps out of the car and just like you like shocked me with like how much I liked you the second I like saw you.
And took
Like
your shoes off, right?
yeah, like come in and y'all came out to buy edible flowers. You were doing an event. You've reached out to me for edible flowers before, but you came out for edible flowers for the
Art museum.
art museum.
Yeah, they had an event there where they were doing a new showing, and they were doing for their I guess it was a certain group of their patrons there that
Mhm.
they did a bunch of really nice appetizers for. And so
Mhm.
I did some spring rolls with some fresh flowers in them. So just
Nice.
I just felt like with the art museum, it needed to be something really pretty and showy. And I love your flowers. You have literally the best edible flowers in town. And so they worked out amazing.
They were so delicious. Those
They
spring
were?
rolls came out perfect.
I'm so happy
The
to hear that.
flowers were so sweet and delicate and just really delicious.
That makes me feel really good. Yeah. So if you're other people looking for fresh edible flowers, I do have those, and I can bring them to you. Or I'm always so grateful when people come out to get them from me, like you guys did too, and just keep spreading that word about that. We don't have any unanswered questions this week, but I did end up making some chicken salad, and I used the curry. I mentioned that earlier, and I used a curry again. This chicken salad was a little bit different than we had made chicken salad before, because before we had made it with avocado as the creamy base of it. Because if you think about it, you're making chicken salad, it's not that big of a deal, right? But you have to be able to come up with whatever is the creaminess of it. And coconut oil can be creamy, but you still want something. So the coconut yogurt is what it suggested that I do this time. And I used farm fresh celery. I mentioned to you guys that the celery is the best tasting celery I've ever had here growing on the farm. And I actually have a pink celery that I grow, so it's pretty.
I
And
want
if
some
you,
of that.
it's very well. I don't have any more right now because we're at the end of that season. But
Oh,
I'm going to
okay.
make sure I grow some more celery next year, and I'll
Okay.
definitely let you know. It's really pretty. And then a red onion from here too. So the little pops of red. I added a little bit of apple into this one as well. And okay, and so then I took, like, I noticed tonight when you were making the dressing, you took one of the little bowls, and so that's how I did it. I took the little bowl and I put the coconut yogurt in there. I put a little bit of, I think, lime juice in there. I put some garlic in there, and
Yum.
then I put turmeric, curry. I think that was, oh, maybe some onion salt too, not onion salt, onion powder, and I whipped it up, and then that's what I used to make my chicken salad. And I also added some greens into my chicken salad as well. I was curious, when you make a chicken salad, like what are your basics? What do you normally do for a chicken salad?
I'm weird. I don't make a lot of chicken salad. I'm a tuna salad kind of person
Oh, interesting.
because I make it really weird. I put tuna salad and I do capers
Uh-huh.
and green olives and
Yeah.
pepperoncinis and a little bit of mayo with some salt and pepper, and it's real like savory, spicy, sour, and it's really good. And I put it and I do like a tuna melt.
That sounds really good. Like, I may have to try that.
I've made that for other people, and they're like, "I've never had tuna salad like this before with any of this before." They're used to like dill relish in it and like all these things, and I'm like, "Oh no, I'm totally all about the green sour stuff." And
Yeah, and the capers, I like that. You know those nasturtiums, the little circles, peppery flavored
the
leaves
ones
that
we
were in
were
the
talking,
salad tonight?
Those were
yes, the
so
ones we were
good.
talking about.
Yeah. So I always tell people, because I'm always trying to say, like, how do we make something on our property here in South Texas? How do we grow something here that is comparable to something we're used to buying? Like, I don't know that we can grow. I'm not saying we can't grow capers here. I actually haven't tried that, but the nasturtium makes these tiny little seed pods that have this peppery flavor, and all you have to do is pickle them.
Right.
And so then you've got capers basically, and they're like peppery flavored capers. And I
Oh,
think that you would love that.
that would be
So if
awesome.
I ever get a good bunch of seeds, and I think this year I've grown a lot of the nasturtium and they reseed themselves really well. So if that I get the capers going really good, or if I get a lot of those going, I'll let you know. I'll
Yeah,
collect some for you.
I do. One of the appetizers I do is a seared scallop, and I do that with a lemon caper, a white wine lemon caper sauce, and that would be really good to put those in it and give that nice peppery feel to it with the white wine and the butter.
Yeah,
Be
that sounds
awesome.
good. That sounds good. Tonight's meal, first of all, I started just saying to the world, okay, I'm having guests at the dinner table and anybody that wants to come out. After talking to you guys, I just thought, I think they would be really great. I got to be a little bit anxious about it.
I know
I was
you seemed
like,
a little stressed about the meal. You're like, okay, we got to figure this meal out. Like,
I
let's
think it
do
was
this.
because it was y'all, and I felt like I needed to I just don't have enough experience, and I'm so new at cooking, and I wanted it to be, I don't know, I just you're chefs, you're good at this, you do this, and I wanted it to be really, and so I kind of passed the buck off and said like, okay, but I also, if I was going to ask you to actually cook, I wanted to know what all ingredients do I need to have,
Right.
and you ended up coming up with a great list of stuff. I told you that I would have some salad mix, and you'd been talking about a salad that you had tried and said, okay, I want to do the salad for you. So tell us a little bit about the salad mixture.
We went one night, Echo and I went to Prime Steakhouse, and I had their pork belly. I just wanted something light. So it was on their appetizer list. It was pork belly. And it was so good, but it came with this garnish of just this tiny little salad that the pork laid on. It was literally fresh mint, fresh cilantro, fresh basil, and then just a spring mix of sorts. And then it had just this herb lemon dressing on it. And it was amazing. It was so
Mm-hmm.
just the way just those herbs just kind of pulled in with it and
Yeah.
with the lettuce. And it had nothing in it, no other vegetables or anything else. It was literally just greens. And I was like obsessed. I ate the whole plate and loved it. And all I could think about was that salad. And so the next day I was at the store and I was like, I'm going to figure out how to make this salad.
Uh-huh.
And so we've been having it like every night this week, working on trying to figure out new dressings and things to go with it.
Uh-huh.
And I just like, it's weird. Like I go through these transitions with food where, some days like I just want pasta all week. And then some days I
Yeah.
want like red meat all week. Well, I'm in this phase right now where I've literally just been craving green
Yeah.
vegetables, green leaves, green this. And so it's salad and broccolini and, all these roasted vegetables and everything. And so that's really what we've been doing all week. But I thought like it'd be really fun because you said you had some lettuce out here and some cilantro and stuff. So I
Yeah.
was like, let's make this cool little salad.
Yeah. Yeah.
The dressing, or was really good tonight. That was probably my favorite one that you've done this week.
I
Something about it.
Thank you. I don't know if it was exactly like the one that was there, but I like how it's pulled together. It's been really nice. Yeah, it's had a great flavor.
So that was really easy. The salad's coming. She's bringing all the stuff. I'm adding my parts into that. And then we went back and forth about meat. And I was like, and that's part of the deal when I'm reaching out to people. It's like, okay, do I need to buy some meat at the farmer's market? Just because I don't keep a lot of meat in the freezer here right now. And you're like, okay, I'm going to take care of this. You went to Natural Grocers and bought the quarters from Natural Grocers.
I bought the chicken thighs, the skin on
Yeah.
bone in skin on chicken thighs, because when you make a cilantro lime chicken, like part of the greatest thing about it is searing that skin and getting this
Mm-hmm.
beautiful golden brown skin on it. And not only that, I marinated it in fresh lime juice with a little bit of salt early in the day. I did that first thing this morning, and I had it marinating all day. So it literally, and I alternate it. I flip it up and down the bag over and over and just
Okay.
keep tossing it so it keeps absorbing in. And so when you go to sear it at night, I put chopped cilantro on it, and then I sear it, and it gets this beautiful golden brown skin that like crisp up really nicely. And that meat is so tender from the acidity, and it's limey and gorgeous. And
Yeah.
usually what I would do is I would put some olive oil in with the marinade. I would put some red chili pepper flake if you want to give it a little
Mm-hmm.
spice.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't sure, I knew even your
Yep. The
spices were a
peppers I
little,
can't do
yeah.
right now. The
So
nightshades.
right.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to go that route, but it still came out amazing.
Yeah.
And I'm all about flavor and seasoning. Like I'm big, bold flavors. Like I don't like mild, timid stuff. I love
Mm-hmm.
big, bold flavors. And so for me, something really limey like that is just
Mm-hmm.
spot on.
Okay, so tell me exactly how you cooked it because I want to be able to do that same style.
Literally, I took the boneless, skinless chicken thighs, and I had them marinating all day. And I literally put olive oil in the pan. I got that pan roaring hot where it literally is almost smoking. And then I put them skin side down first, and you let them just sit
Uh-huh.
there. And you don't want too much moisture in the pan because it will steam them, and you want it to like crisp up and get really nice and crispy on top. And then you flip it over and you let it cook, just brown just a little bit, and then you finish it in the oven. So 90% of the meats that I cook, I may sear them for color and crispiness on the stove. I
Mhm.
finish all my meats in the oven because you can get them to a perfect temp and they still come out really amazingly juicy.
Okay, so how long? Is there time on that? I mean, like, how long do you do it?
I probably seared the chicken on top for about 10 minutes and
Mhm.
then moved it into the oven until a temperature of 165, which
165.
right,
Yeah.
which for me, I don't base things on time in an oven. I look at it as your oven may be different than my oven and
Uh-huh.
I cook in all different kinds of ovens, so I go off a temperature. I still temp all my meats and I go 165. So whether that takes 8 minutes in your oven or 30 minutes in my oven, get to 165. That's where
165.
yeah.
That's the important part.
Yes.
So and you were like, I still pull out my thermometer and use my thermometer. And so I saw her pull out her thermometer and I appreciated that as well. And then you did that simple, let's just cut up some squash and cook it. But of all the squash cooking I've done in the last few weeks, because I have so much squash, that you made the best squash that I've eaten in all this time.
Wait,
So
I don't even know what I did. Honestly, I put a little olive oil in the pan and then I was like, wait, I really like Sam's has this organic and I didn't even bring it, but Sam's has this organic coconut oil that
uh-huh.
comes in like this big clear container with a green lid, and it has an amazing flavor when you cook it.
Uh-huh.
It makes sure every vegetable I've ever made, my guests like go crazy. They're like, I've never had green, these are the best green beans I've ever had. Like
Uh-huh.
everybody freaks out. So anyway, I was like, crap, I wanted to add coconut oil. So I
Uh-huh.
added some coconut oil. And so it was olive oil and coconut oil. And then I just let them brown, and so you just leave them in there and you just let them sear for a little while. And then I added a little bit of your coriander salt
Yes.
and the purple, the
Yes, it's
the
like
pea flower
pea
salt.
flower salt.
The pea
Yeah.
flower salt. So,
Uh-huh.
and I just did that because I wanted to see what it tasted like because
Yeah.
it was a
Yeah.
purple salt. It
Yeah.
looked so cool. So I tried that. And I just let it. And then when I felt like they were, sometimes with squash, because they're all different sizes, some will cook faster than others. And so I started taking them out so that they would cool off.
And you put them out on like a paper
I put it
towel,
on paper
right?
towels
Yeah.
because squash tends to absorb a lot of oil, and
Uh-huh.
so then it will release it if you let it sit. It'll
Uh-huh.
just like let that oil go.
Uh-huh.
So I put it on a paper towel to absorb it and remove it from it. So it
And I
wasn't.
noticed they were really pretty thinly sliced
Yeah,
too. So,
yeah.
but she got them like so crispy, you guys, that they like had that like caramelized flavor to them.
I am all about charring, searing, and
Yeah, me
caramelization. Like
too.
that's where it's at with food.
Yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed it very much. I enjoyed every bit of it, and I enjoyed sitting down with our big glasses of water and cheersing, So that
Cheers
was
to
really good.
hydration. Cheers
Cheers
to
to hydration.
hydration.
Tell me a little bit about how you got into cooking.
I'm from Austin originally, and I loved being in Austin. But when I turned 21, I was like, I want to get the f out of here, and
Mhm.
I was like, I'm going to LA. I went with a boy, of course,
Uh.
and I went to LA with a boy, and obviously, like it didn't work out because once we got to LA, he wanted to be mellow and a skater, and I wanted to be in fashion and in LA, in the heart of LA, doing LA stuff, and
Uh-huh.
so I went and did my thing, and I ended up going to the Fashion Institute for Design and Merchandising. I then ended up working for a high-end shoe designer for 5 years, where I
Mhm.
literally was the very first employee she ever had after she launched her first shoe collection.
Mhm.
And 5 years later, when I left, we had our own factory in North Hollywood. Like we were making $500, $600 sandals, boots, things like that, like really beautiful artisan craft leather goods.
Mhm.
Um, and then I got pulled back to Texas. And when I got here, when I moved to Corpus, it became really apparent that there's like not a real high-end
Creative,
fashion
yeah,
industry
fashion,
kind of
yeah.
thing. Not what I was doing, at
Right,
least, right?
right.
So I was just a server. I was working as a server at Takaniwa restaurant, and I had a friend of mine who was studying, and she was going to the Del Mar Culinary Institute, and she had her pastry book open, and I'm like looking at it, and I'm like, this is school, like this is your schooling,
Uh-huh.
like recipes. And she was like, yeah, this is what it is. And I was like, this is what I meant to do here. So
Yeah.
like a week later, I went and applied at Del Mar, and I picked up their culinary. I went to go get their culinary degree, and I started doing that. And then
So were you still in school when I met you because you came out and helped a big time, huge help in the Grow Local Farm to Table dinner one year.
yes,
And you were still in school at that point?
yes, I was
Yeah.
still in school, and I had went to apply at um Whataburger Stadium as a sous chef.
Uh-huh.
And I went and I got the job, and I had been there for 6 weeks, literally just cleaning the kitchen, getting ready for the season to start. And 2 weeks into the first season, the first homestand, the chef quit and like
Oh.
just left and deleted everything on his computer, and like there was nothing, and they were like, we need you to come in
And
and
start from scratch.
figure this out. Because and I was like, you want me to I'm literally in school, I
Yeah.
don't have a clue what I'm doing, like, but
But you made it work.
I made it work, and I was there for 5 years, and I kicked butt. And so it was awesome. I was really proud of myself because it was probably like a huge chance. I took a big chance on myself, and it paid off. And it really proved to me that I was good at what I do, and that
Mhm.
I really did have a lot of love for what I do, because that was not easy. That kitchen on any given day is 100 degrees.
What did you cook? What kinds of things do you cook?
So for what I did there is I cooked for the high-end suites.
Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah.
we did really nice fajitas, like prime rib, things like that. And then
Mhm.
I would cook meals for the players. And then for any of our specialty kitchens down on the concession level, I made the specialty food for that. So it was like the street taco meat and shrimp and kind of the higher end stuff.
Mhm.
We did hot dogs and hamburgers and stuff, but for the most part, the concession levels handled that.
Right.
But I did, like, if a high-end client came in and they wanted, we used to do duck 5 ways, and like we did all
Yeah.
kinds of real like specialty kind of meals and stuff. So, but it taught me how to cook in bulk and how to make for like large groups of people.
Yeah.
And then it just really solidified that I really just loved cooking, because while that job was fun, it was not easy.
Right.
And it was a lot of time and a lot of effort, and it was grueling schedule. And so I decided after that, there was still so much that I wanted to be able to do, and I was still so new at it. So after the stadium, I ended up going to I left there and decided that I wanted to do more high-end ranch work, and
Uh-huh.
kind of be able to travel around to different kitchens and different ranches, and
Uh-huh.
experience cooking wild game and
Yeah.
doing a lot of stuff like that. And so I did that, and I really loved it and had a great time, and got to cook on Kennedy Ranch for the most part. I did a lot of
Uh-huh.
cooking there. And then
So you do wild game.
I do wild game.
Yeah. What's been your favorite thing of that kind of stuff to
I love
do?
cooking meal guy.
Okay.
And then
What do you do with it?
gosh, we could do we did these beautiful chicken fried steaks. We would do
Uh-huh.
a
Ooh, that
meat
sounds good.
a meatloaf. We would do these beautiful like grilled quail legs with like a peach barbecue sauce and aged cheddar grits, and just kind of like a
Mm.
lot of really like fun stuff. We
Mm.
cooked rattlesnake at one point. Like,
Ah.
yeah, like,
How do you cook that? How does that work?
so the way that we did it this time was we fried it, but
Uh-huh.
it was crazy. It was these two 6 foot long snakes.
Its
And
skin's already pulled off when you got it, or
yeah,
did you have to?
they brought it to me like
Uh-huh.
skinned and gutted, and it was still moving. Like,
Ah.
I was like, I literally physically cannot hold this snake while it's still moving and try to cook it at the same time. So I had to wait until the next day. But like
Yeah.
they would catch stuff or just
Ah,
kill
okay.
things, and they're
Yeah.
like, "Hey, what can you do with it?" And so we
Oh.
were constantly like making weird stuff and playing around. But believe it or not,
That is so freaking cool. I love that.
it was a lot of fun. It
Yeah.
was a lot of fun.
That's the way I live basically.
Well,
Like,
I was
what
about to
can
say,
I
don't you
yeah.
do this out here all the time?
Yeah. We made we had to deal with an alligator that was like being forceful in our pond.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, we
Here?
had yeah. And yeah, they come up because we're in a direct connect to the Copano.
Oh, okay.
And so they come up when we have big floods, and we've had 3 different ones. Well, this last one was aggressive and big, and so eventually we had to take care of him. We became alligator farmers that day, and made an alligator curry with it. And yeah, and then my brother did some other stuff with it. And so yeah, I mean, that's the way it works.
Yeah.
Try, if you're gonna have to kill something, don't just kill things.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
I can definitely tell you that as a chef, I don't mind like cutting into things,
Mhm.
but if I had to kill, like they always offered for me to like, hey, you want to go out and shoot something? No, I
Yeah.
can't be the one to kill it.
Yeah.
And I still put faces and names to animals, and you
Yeah.
know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so it still tears my heart, and I will rescue every animal I possibly can, but I cannot be the one to kill it and then cook it. Like, I would be during the zombie apocalypse, I would be the one to go, because I can't I
No,
can't
you
kill
would
things.
figure it out. You would figure it out. Because I'm gonna get there with the rabbits. Like,
Oh, that's true.
yeah.
Okay,
I
that's
mean,
right.
I
That's
didn't.
right.
I haven't really hunt. I've always let my family hunt. I knew that I would get to a place someday where And I've killed chickens before,
Right.
and I've processed chickens before. I think you could do it, anything you had to do if you had to do it. But I
I
know
mean, if
that
I
feeling.
had to do it,
Yeah.
then obviously my instinct to live and my
Yes.
will to live would
Yes.
would kick in,
Yes.
and it would be me or them.
Yeah.
But if but by choice, I would not do
Yeah.
it by choice. But
Yeah.
I'm just a big wuss and a big softy at heart. But
I
to
get
make
it.
a damn good stew, I would do that. So
Yeah,
yeah, I
I
would do
know.
what I got to do.
I'm gonna talk to you when I have rabbits for sure.
Well, that's what
So
I said. You're gonna have
yes,
to call me and let me come
we'll
learn
come
how
and
to like
figure it
break it
out.
down because
Yeah.
I like as a chef, I should be strong enough to be able to handle that stuff. So
Yeah. How did you get in? How does one get into that industry of working on farms and wild game and stuff?
so
Not farms, but ranches.
There
Yeah.
is there is a guy who runs a company called Chef Connect, and you
Uh-huh.
connect in with him. And
Mhm.
believe it or not, there's a ton of ranches around Texas who like chefs to come out and cook for their guests that come
Yeah.
out or
I've
and stuff
heard
like that.
that before, but I
Yeah,
never really knew how
well,
that worked.
I had no idea about it. And then even my culinary teacher was like, he goes to cook on ranches, and he was like, you should look into it. And so I did it, and I thought it was going to be like I was going to get out there, and then I was going to be out there like with wood fire grills and like literally like
Yeah.
roughing it like on
No.
like the chuck wagon.
Chuck
That's
wagon.
what I thought I was going to be doing. No, I'm in this like beautiful like expensive kitchen with like a 12-foot island, and
Yeah.
I mean like really high end places. And it was amazing. I got to incorporate kind of my high end food with wild game and things like
Yeah.
that. And then I got to learn a lot more, like how to play around with this food
Yeah.
and what all I could do with it. And so I did that for 2 seasons. And then that was just a seasonal gig because
Right.
just for hunting.
Yeah.
And so the off season, people were asking me, like, do you cook in the spring or summer? Like, or
Mhm.
where
Mhm.
can you come cook at our house and can you come do this? And so that's when I launched last year was Salty Sea Kitchen.
Yeah.
And I get called in. Like I have people who rent me out for a week for springs and summers down at Cinnamon Shores and Palmilla
So you're
Beach
like the
Resort.
private chef while they're there?
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I get called in to do events, and
Uh,
now it's like bigger events. I've catered meals for sponsors of the A&M basketball team.
mhm.
I do all kinds of. I got called by the catering to help them do an event at Bay Jewel, and so I'm
Nice.
getting all kinds of events, like reaching out to like all different kind of aspects of doing events, and it's awesome. I love it. I mean, but I really do love what I do, so I put my heart and soul into it.
Yeah, I just want to add like Kelly Hughes really does put so much love into all her food. And like you will never have anything that doesn't have some type of bold flavor that just wows you. Like she is absolutely stunning and like puts so much heart into everything she does. It's beautiful, really.
Thank you.
Since the moment I met you, like your high energy, I remember that farm to table dinner and you had such high energy and you worked so hard and you were so serious about it. And I remembered that about you. It was like really important to me to watch that happen. Right.
Oh.
And so I appreciate that very much. And it makes sense as to why you're having such successes with your business. Tell me, what are your favorite like things to prepare? What do you like to prepare the most?
One of the things that I do is I do like to go to the farmers market, and I do
Mhm.
like to find like local Texas companies and stuff like with oils and
Mhm.
sauces and jams and jellies and
Mhm.
incorporate them into my food. And one of the things that I found, gosh, I need to remember the name of it. Um, at Clayton's Meat Market in
Uh-huh.
Portland,
Uh-huh.
he carries a bourbon Worcestershire there that is
Uh-huh.
so good, and it's this local made Worcestershire that's aged in bourbon barrels. And I marinate my steaks in it, and I do a lot of like tenderloins, beef
Uh-huh.
tenderloins and stuff like that. But I get people telling me that it's literally like the best steak they've ever had in their life, and I marinate it, and then I make this amazing cowboy butter, which is this. It's got like 10 different ingredients in butter, and it's from thyme to Dijon mustard to
Uh-huh.
something a little bit of spiciness, like. And I make these amazing steaks, and
Uh-huh.
people are like, this is better than Ruth Chris's. This is better than like some of these like high end steakhouses, and they're like literally the best steak I've ever had. I love doing that because I'm impressed like that. I'm just like, wow, really, literally, like that's the best steak you've ever had, and people just go crazy for it, and it's awesome. I love that.
Okay, so give us the tip and trick on how to make the best steak. Like tell us exactly how you make your steak.
Honestly, I marinate my steaks overnight.
Yeah?
I get that bourbon Worcestershire, and sometimes I'll even, if I want to get a little crazy, I'll even add just a tiny bit of Maker's Mark, and
Mhm.
I season it up, and I love the seasoning chupacabra. I get the no MSG chupacabra,
What is
and
that? Where do I get that from?
so it's a barbecue seasoning
Okay.
it's just a regular dry seasoning that you
Okay.
get at you can get it at HEB or in
Uh-huh.
like meat markets and
Uh-huh.
stuff. But they their plain black container is
Mhm.
it's almost like a really great seasoned salt, and I put it on tartar. I made it in tartar sauce. I put it in like crab cakes. I put it on fish. I put it on meat, chicken. Like
So
it's such
no
an and
MSG chupacabra, get
yes.
it at HEB.
Yeah, just their
Okay.
their basic chupacabra. It's such a good like seasonal, and but
Nice.
it adds such a punch. But I'll put that with the bourbon Worcestershire, Maker's Mark, and chupacabra on my steak, and I'll
Mhm.
marinate them, and I'll put them all together in just in this big bag of just stuff, and I just let it sit in the fridge overnight, and it like makes them tender and juicy, and then I sear them on a stove on a really
Uh-huh.
hot stove, and then I finish them in the oven,
Uh-huh.
and they come out amazing.
Okay, so tell me your length. Yeah, I know you said you don't do lengths of time, but like if you're making a medium rare steak, like how do you do that?
A medium rare, I would get to 125, and then
Uh-huh.
I would take it out and tent foil it above it and just let it sit for another 10 minutes, and that'll bring it up just a little bit more.
Uh-huh.
And then
I made a medium rare steak the other night. It was the first time I'd ever made a steak. I've already told this story, but I was so proud of myself because I cooked a steak for a man rather than a man cooking a steak for me,
uh-huh.
and that felt really good to me.
Yeah, of course.
Like
Oh man, what feels good when you cook something for the first time and it like
yes,
pulls off. Like
and it's good.
there's been times that I've had like a customer that's like, "Hey, can you make this for me?" And it's like I didn't get like there are times I practice my food. Like
Yeah,
I want to make sure when I cook this for you, like I know it's going to be good. And so I don't usually try to wing it, but there's been a couple times I've had to wing stuff,
yeah.
and I'm like at the end I'm like, "Woo!" Like that was amazing. Like I can't believe how good that came out. And so it actually worked out really good. But yeah, so I practice. Like I like really care about my craft. I want it to be good, and I want people to be like, "Damn, this food is amazing." Like
I need to hang out with you more because I need a friend that practices cooking. Yes, so
I know that when I first learned about
yeah,
macaroons,
macaroons.
macaroons. Yes, I went to
We'll get there.
I went to San Antonio once, and I had this like rosemary lavender macaroon, and
Ooh,
I was like,
yes.
holy crap, this
Yeah.
is like the coolest. But it's like 1,000 calorie cookie, but it was like the most amazing. It was so delicious, and I was like, I want to learn how to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm reading about them, and I'm like, oh my god, this is like the most. They say it's really easy, but it's like the easiest to screw up. But it
Uh-huh.
like depends on what the weather is like outside, like whether they lift and they raise, and like this whole thing. I swear I got my family so sick of macaroons because I was making macaroons for like weeks straight every day trying to figure out how to get these like little perfect feet on them so that they rose properly. And
Uh-huh.
like I practiced like chicken pot pie when I was trying to get this. I had this vision of what
I
I wanted
love
it.
chicken pot pie,
I had
man.
this vision of what I wanted, and I had to get to that vision. And if like every night it was chicken pot pie, like
So you suggested to me that I need to make a recipe book, a
make a
cookbook.
cookbook.
What about you? Like, have you considered making a cookbook?
I haven't. I thought about it every now and then, but you know what I do right now when I find recipes that I really like? My daughter gave me a little recipe wooden box for
Mm-hmm.
recipe cards, and I put it in there to leave to her. That I want her to have my recipes.
That's nice.
So that's all I've done with it so far.
So yeah, how do you come up like how do you decide to go after a new recipe or you just try different things and you just keep playing with it until you get what you want it to be?
Yeah, well, so I love recipes. I love like I get all the cook magazines, I get them all and I
Uh-huh.
pull them out and I'll tweak them to the way I like. Oh,
Yeah.
maybe I want to put this with it instead, or maybe I would like to,
Yeah.
or like I love my vegetables and coconut oil, so I go that route,
Yeah.
which adds a
Yeah.
little
I
bit
do
of
too.
a different flavor to it. So I do all of that, but like I like to create things, but I like a base. I like to start
Yeah.
somewhere
Yeah.
because there's a lot of genre of food that I'm not familiar with. And so like
Yeah.
I love Thai food, but I don't know myself how to like start creating something that is strictly Thai. So I'll pull a recipe and
Yes.
then change it to what I know people like, what I like, just things like that. And I kind of build from there.
That's really how we do it around here too. That's how we've been doing it and just coming up with but the thing that is really interesting about having a farm where you have vegetables coming off your farm is that you just have to take whatever you've got,
Right. Right.
And then even when you buy farm fresh meat, like say I go to the farmer's market on Saturday and they don't have any steak. They only have, lamb this week,
Right.
So it's like, well, I've got lamb and I've got squash. What am I going to do with that,
Right. Right.
And so I think that you like being able to do both is the key, I think,
Right.
is being able to have the creative side to it, but then also being able to know how to start with the base and learn from the base. Last week, Cassie and I were talking about that, and I was talking about how I had made that curry beef stew, and then I had like followed all the directions. And that was, one of the things that we did was like we follow all the directions, but then it's like you're going to go off and add your own things to it and
Yeah.
then make it 12 times before you finally go, okay, this is what we really like to do with it. And these are the things we like to have in it instead of, and so I think that that's the advantage of the culinary school part of it, is that you've learned certain skills. Like I told you, one of the things I'm most concerned about is that, like, when I made my squash for a big group of people, it turned out much more mushy. I mean, the flavor was good, but it wasn't like what yours was. And so it's like I don't have the skill yet with meat. I don't have the skill yet with, you know, getting the vegetables cut up the right way,
I can tell you, culinary school is the fundamentals. It
Yeah.
teaches you the basics. It teaches you how to sear, how to do this, how to turn the oven on, how to use a grill, it
Right.
teaches you the fundamentals, how to char something, like things
Right.
like that. It does not teach you, like, you will learn recipes and
Right.
you'll get to work on recipes there because they're like, oh, we're going to cook Armenian food today. Find an Armenian recipe and bring it in and cook it, and then we're all going to stand around and grade it and critique it. But they give you the fundamentals of that stuff, so you learn. The rest of it is tried and true. Like, you practice and you learn,
Practicing.
and that's how you figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that that's it for me now. I've got to get my 10,000 hours in the kitchen.
Now you need to, like, every week pick out a recipe and say, this is what I'm going to make. Like we do, like, we cook dinner almost every night.
Yeah. Well, I'm cooking dinner every night. Yeah.
HEB, the people at HEB are like, hey, Kelly, how's it going?
Yeah.
Like, you're here. Like, we're literally, because I'm not, I plan meals, but I don't plan in advance.
Yeah.
Like, so we literally go to the store. We have 30 minutes every day that we go to the store and we buy what we're going to make for dinner that night, because sometimes it'll change and whatever. So, but we go to the store every day, and we're always looking to see what else is out there and what else, like, let's try this and let's try this, or I read about this and this could be really cool. And we always try to make something different at least once or twice a week for that experience. And oh, hey, I found this sauce. Like, I found this really cool jam. I want to try to make a sauce with it to go with chicken, and to incorporate it into our menus for work. And so
I'm actually like really excited and think it's totally radical that we're going to get like ingredients and be able to incorporate what comes from your farm.
Yeah.
I just am so excited to see like what she comes up with and what we can create. And I feel like a whole new world is kind of like opening up.
Yeah.
And so thank you for that. That's
Yeah.
really cool.
At dinner, figs. You're gonna have figs? Yes, figs. Pink celery? Yes.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, no, there's definitely some ways that we can work together. And then I know you guys are willing to come out here, and I'm really appreciating getting to know female entrepreneurs, and I appreciate us getting to know each other better. I loved it. I will honestly echo, I will never forget the first day I met you, because I just like, you just showed up with this vibe, and then we started talking, and then it was like, what's your sign? And I'm like, oh, I'm a Sagittarius. Oh, Sagittarius, like it was just, and so I've just really enjoyed getting to know you guys and having this opportunity. Thanks for coming and
thank you for having
being
us.
here
Yes,
for us.
thank you so much.
Yeah. So I want you to tell everybody really about your business. Like, how could somebody hire you? How do they get in touch with you? Tell us that part so that we can really know where to find the Salty Sea Kitchen.
Okay, it's called Salty Sea Kitchen. You can get on Facebook and find me there under Salty Sea Kitchen, or my phone number is 361-777-6570, or you can email me at my name, which is Kellie, Kelli, Hughes 15 at gmail.com. Or I'm pretty sure
reach
that's
out to me and I'll find her.
Or find Aislynn, yes, and she'll get it to you. She'll get it to me. But yeah, reach out. We do all kinds of events. We do birthdays, dinners, just people having guests over and want to do a dinner. I mean, we do kind of any event that you require food for. So, bachelorette parties, anything really that requires food,
You
we're
know
open.
what I think we should do? I've been like formulating this idea in my head, but
A,
not knowing
a
exactly how to
big
do it.
fun dinner party.
We should do a pop-up dinner restaurant. We should do a pop-up restaurant for like 3 days in a row
That'd be
here at
cool.
the
So
farm,
cool.
That'd be
That's
cool.
like a true
amazing.
pop-up restaurant. Because 'cause I've been trying to think about, like, how do I do this farm to table thing? How do I make it right? How do I get it where people make reservations, where we
Yeah,
hire servers and do, like, a 3-day weekend pop-up restaurant and
that'd be
have people
cool.
all booked out, and, yeah, I think that that would be something because 'cause I've been trying to do farm to table dinners out here, and I've done them, in the past, but this big, huge night and this big thing, and it doesn't really flip well. But this idea of like a little restaurant has been in my mind, but I just hadn't really thought about how. And I think that like 3 days pop up and it's in and out and people are already reserved and that kind of thing would be interesting.
That is interesting. I mean, definitely something to talk about.
And we could look at what's really good and seasonal, like pick at the right time of year when it's really good and seasonal from the farm, stuff that we're going
Right.
to be getting really like this time of year, really get some good stuff.
Yeah,
So,
we
yeah.
should. That's a great idea.
I love it. Let's talk about that. Okay. So, more things about my business. Don't forget, I'm still doing my coaching and consultations. Right now, my coaching for food is medicine is really about helping you to meal plan with these special dietary needs. It's you're interested in going on this. How are you going to actually make your food be delicious and not feel like you're deprived from something? I'm doing those for $77 for 2 hours. Of course, I'm also doing garden coaching and the consultations for homesteading as well. I'm having a special on that stuff through the end of May. So reach out to me for that as well. And also, I don't want you to forget that the farm is a venue. And so, if you're getting ready to plan your small events for the holiday season, or holiday season seems like it's a long way away, but it's time to start planning that stuff and where am I going to have those things at? Certainly, any fall events that are coming up. So, as you're beginning to prepare for the fall and the holidays as they come in and putting a place on your calendar of places you want to have things, consider having it at the farm and talk to me about how we can work that out. So, that's something. And then I would love to do, somebody reached out to me the other day about doing 4-H food nutrition cooking classes. And so I'd love to do some more kids cooking classes types of things out there. So and I know I've mentioned this to you before, but I've got some ideas of some things, but I want to partner with some more, chefs and cooks and stuff like that to do some more projects out here.
I remember when I did that for, was it Grow Local, where
Mhm.
that they grew the food, and
Yes.
then for that month, and then at the end of the month that we brought the kids in with the food, and
Yep.
we showed them how to make a meal for their parents, and then we all sat around at the end and ate that. I know I did
Yes.
that a few times.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. We should do something like that because that was really fun.
Yeah, you're right. I've completely forgot about that project, and you're right. Where we, to get to have them prepare and serve food to their parents was
It
a
was the
big
food
deal.
that they grew, though.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. I know that Grow Local is still doing quite a bit of growing with kids and foods. Their gardens are looking really good right now. And Tevin, that's actually how I met you originally, I think,
Mr.
right through
Tevin.
Tevin.
Yeah.
Tevin still has the learning garden over there, Keepers of the
Nice.
Garden, and he's doing he makes pizzas out there.
Nice.
He's amazing. That
Yeah,
kid is amazing.
He's so smart.
That kid, he's not a kid
I was
anymore,
like,
but yeah. Do
I-
you know Tevin?
I don't, but I just thought, like, I saw her face.
You've got to meet. You've got to meet
Tevin's
Tevin.
Tevin's
love
cool.
to.
Tevin's cool.
Yeah, Echo and Tevin would be a good match. Y'all need to meet each other. I don't know what if I mean that kind of match, but I mean I just think y'all would be maybe that kind of match. I'm not matchmaking anybody over here. I'm just simply saying I can see the Echo and the Tevin together. That would be fun. So yeah. So okay. So last things but not least, we're doing our random question here, and I pulled this one out, and
Where do these questions come from? Just
they're out of this
Oh.
little box here. It's called Table Topics.
Oh,
And
okay.
the
By the
idea
way,
is
love
that
it.
you're getting kids or people at the table to talk, right? So I pulled this one out. I want it to be random, but I don't need it to be that random, right? So I'm going to pull out something that nobody's going to answer, right? But I thought this was really interesting. And so let's see how we can pull this off. If we could do something with this. How many people in this room could you beat at arm wrestling? How many people in this room could you beat at arm wrestling, Kelly?
Me? Probably nobody. I got
Nobody?
I got a bad arm. I don't know. I'm not
Really?
Yeah, I got a bad shoulder. I was telling her about it on the drive up here that I was in a really like crazy car accident a
Oh.
long time ago, and so my shoulder, my
So you're
right
not
arm.
going to let me arm wrestle you? Because I was about to get to arm wrestling over here.
I think Echo's got a better
yeah.
shot at this one.
Echo,
I'll
could you-
suffer too much.
Well, based off her answer, I guess I could beat one person at arm wrestling.
No, you could beat. Oh yeah, you could beat me. There you go.
I'm sitting here looking at this and I'm thinking like two chefs, strong young women over here. I'm like, I don't know. And I'm like, but I am a female farmer.
I was like, I'm pretty
So-
sure you're pretty nailed on this one. Like you're probably,
Okay,
stacked.
so
like
here's what I think should happen. I think Echo and I should arm wrestle.
we could thumb wrestle.
And
I
I-
can guarantee my thumb still works.
My thumb still works.
That's adorable.
Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go over to the table over there. We're gonna Echo and I are gonna arm wrestle, okay? And you're gonna call the play-by-play for
Okay, I'll
everybody.
narrate.
Okay,
All right,
okay.
awesome.
I got this, guys. Okay, they're getting ready, lining them up. Okay, I'll count to 3. I'll count you down. Okay, they're ready to wrestle. 1, 2, 3, go. Dang, they both got some guns on them. Oh man, I made Echo laugh. I didn't know she was gonna.
The female farmer.
The female farmer pulled it, man. She just like whooped her ass because I made Echo laugh. I didn't mean to make that happen. I didn't know she was going to be so easy.
Oh my gosh, that was so much fun, you guys. I had such a great time. No, you're not that easy. I
I
can
don't know.
tell.
Your guns, you guys' guns, both pretty even though. I thought there was going to be at least a challenge
Next
there.
time we put some cushions on our elbows. for
Okay.
sure.
I think she gave in to me. I think she gave in because she wanted to be nice. She was in my own home and she's a polite lady. So she was
She's
like,
like-
I'm going to let her
No,
win.
I saw your muscles. Like they're intense.
Your muscles.
Well, I'm pretty competitive, I have to admit. So it's like, thank you guys so much for coming out. I appreciate you all very much.
Thank you for having us. This
Yes,
is awesome.
Thank
welcome.
you so much.
Thank you for cooking me dinner and
Of
just
course, always.
spending a lovely
Yes, Kelly,
evening with
thank you.
me.
You're welcome.
Yes,
I
delicious
love to cook, you
food.
guys. I'll cook for you always.
Oh, that's so good. So, all right, you guys, thanks so much for coming to the dinner table with us. Of course, always, if you're listening to this on YouTube, subscribe, follow, like, rate, review, and if you want to help me out, help me with the podcast, help me keep my life going, throw a little bit of money at the podcast, support the podcast. You'll find that at the end of the podcast notes. And of course, we're going to put some recipes up there and all the great information. And as always, share this podcast with your friends. Tell your friends that you know a cool chick, then some cool friends that are putting on a podcast and talking about things at the dinner table. I
And
love
shop
you guys.
local.
Yes, I love you guys. I'll see you all very soon. Thanks for joining us at the dinner table.
Take care, guys.
Bye bye.